Horror in the 1960s was a strange, experimental, and utterly fascinating playground. The decade produced some of the most innovative, eerie, and psychologically disturbing films ever made, yet many of these masterpieces have faded into obscurity. From existential dread to gothic nightmares, these pictures not only terrified audiences but redefined the genre itself. If you're a fear fanatic, or just someone who loves discovering forgotten cinematic gems, you're in for a treat. Stick around until the end for the #1 pick that truly revolutionized horror. And hey, if you love movies, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe. We promise we won't haunt your dreams much. Let's kick things off with a film that sounds like a metal album title, The Earth Dies Screaming. Directed by sci-fi horror maestro Terence Fisher, this weird British chiller is a post-apocalyptic nightmare drenched in paranoia. Imagine waking up to find almost everyone mysteriously dead, and the few survivors are being hunted by creepy, slow-moving alien robots with glowing eyes. Yes, it's as gloriously bizarre as it sounds. The movie's atmosphere is thick with dread, and the minimalistic storytelling makes every silence feel suffocating. Though it didn't make waves at the time, it heavily influenced later works like Night of the Living Dead and 28 Days Later.
Suddenly, a plane dives to death. The earth dies screaming. Suddenly, a car swerves to destruction. Here is paralyzing suspense as the earth dies screaming. Electrifying terror as the earth dies screaming.
Jeff!
Vincent Price is in this one. Do we really need to say more? Well, yes, because Diary of a Madman is criminally underrated. This psychological horror film follows a magistrate who becomes possessed by an evil entity known as the Horla. Slowly, he descends into madness, committing ghastly murders while trying to resist the supernatural force taking over his mind. Price delivers one of his most unnerving performances, balancing sophistication with sheer lunacy. Though overshadowed by his more famous flicks, this one showcases why he remains the undisputed king of Gothic terror.
Would you like to know the secret of the Horla's mysterious power? Come then with me. No. This is preposterous, Duclass. You're making a grave mistake.
Liar! What are you trying to hide, that you would take another man's wife away? That's enough, Duclass.
You have a rendezvous with terror when you delve into the secrets of Diary of a Madman.
Another Gothic classic, The Premature Burial, is based on Edgar Allan Poe's short story and directed by the legendary Roger Corman. This one stands out from Corman's usual Poe adaptations because it doesn't star Vincent Price. Instead, we get Ray Milland as a man so terrified of being buried alive that he becomes obsessed with preventing it. Ironically, his paranoia might just be the very thing that dooms him. The film is drenched in gloomy atmosphere, macabre irony, and enough claustrophobic tension to make you check your pulse. While often overlooked in favor of House of Usher or The Pit and the Pendulum, this gem is a must-watch for fans of Gothic terror.
A man obsessed by terror. Only an artist of unique talent and unusual sensitivity could live so demanding a role. Until reality and madness became one.
If his father was prematurely interred.
I heard his voice.
All right, then prove it.
I will.
You are about to enjoy an experience in extreme terror.
The only thing better than one horror icon is two. The Oblong Box brings together Vincent Price and Christopher Lee in a twisted tale of colonial fright, family secrets, and, of course, a cursed man locked in, you guessed it, an oblong box. This movie, loosely based on Edgar Allan Poe's works, is a fever dream of revenge, superstition, and creepy masks. It was also part of the earliest films to tap into body horror elements, something later perfected by filmmakers like David Cronenberg. It's atmospheric, unsettling, and features some of the best sinister stares ever captured on film.
My brother Edward has died.
Where is he going to be buried?
As soon as you found another body.
Waking up in that horrible oblong box. No air to breathe. Every shovelful raining down on the lid.
God, Trench, do you know what that means? It means that my brother was buried alive.
Ingmar Bergman doing horror? Yes, and it's every bit as nightmarish as you'd expect. Hour of the Wolf is not just a scary movie, it's a psychological abyss. The movie follows a tormented artist, Max von Sydow, whose descent into madness is accelerated by creepy hallucinations, bizarre aristocrats, and long-buried secrets. It's surreal, deeply unsettling, and lingers in your mind like a half-remembered nightmare. This film was a major influence on psychological horror classics like The Shining, and yet it remains between Bergman's most overlooked masterpieces.
Var tyst.
Mario Bava's directorial debut is a gothic horror masterpiece that cemented Italy's place in the genre. Starring Barbara Steele in a dual role as a vengeful witch and her innocent descendant, Black Sunday is drenched in eerie atmosphere, shadowy cinematography, and unforgettable imagery. Most notably the gruesome opening scene where a spiked mask is hammered onto Steele's face. Bava's use of high-contrast black and white photography gives the film an almost dreamlike quality, influencing generations of horror filmmakers. If you love classic Gothic horror with a touch of the macabre, Black Sunday is essential viewing.
Not since Dracula stalked the earth has the world known so terrifying a day.
It is I who renounce you, and in the name of Satan I place a curse upon you.
Black Sunday is like no motion picture you've ever seen.
Look into my eyes.
Black Sunday. Satan wearing strange robes and fighting with all the furies of Hades. The most terrifying motion picture you'll ever see.
A low-budget wonder that looks like a lost episode of The Twilight Zone, Carnival of Souls is haunting in every sense of the word. The story follows a woman who survives a car crash only to be drawn to a mysterious, abandoned carnival. The movie's ghostly imagery, frightening organ soundtrack, and dreamlike quality make it a masterclass in atmospheric dread. Though it was ignored upon release, it later became a cult favorite, influencing directors like David Lynch and George Romero.
You can't afford to miss Carnival of Souls. This is the shocking story of a who crawled from the river to race through a nightmare, walking a tightrope between heaven and hell. From the bottom of the river they come. They reach for her. She is a girl driven mad by the relentless forces of the beyond. He will not relent as he comes for her again and again. But she must watch herself in death. She must dance at the Carnival of Souls held just for her. Carnival of Souls is the shocker of all time, guaranteed to sweep you into a new dimension of picture making. Carnival of Souls.
One of the most controversial horror films ever made, Peeping Tom was so scandalous upon release that it destroyed director Michael Powell's career. The movie follows a disturbed cameraman who films his victims' last moments as he murders them. It was ahead of its time, offering a disturbing critique of voyeurism and the horror genre itself. While it was initially reviled, Peeping Tom has since been recognized as a masterpiece and a precursor to the slasher genre.
Mark, what do you do?
My interest is in the fear.
Have you gone crazy?
Whatever I photograph, I always lose.
A breathtakingly beautiful anthology of Japanese ghost stories, Kwaidan is a visual and atmospheric marvel. Each segment is a meticulously crafted, uncanny folktale brought to life with haunting set designs and dreamlike cinematography. It's horror as high art, influencing everything from Japanese horror classics like Ringu to Western filmmakers like Guillermo del Toro.
夢ではない。
Topping the list is The Innocents, among the most terrifying and elegantly crafted ghost stories ever filmed. Adapted from Henry James' The Turn of the Screw, the movie masterfully blurs the line between supernatural horror and psychological torment. Deborah Kerr's performance as a governess questioning her own sanity is spine-chilling, and the strange cinematography remains unmatched. This is atmospheric creepy at its finest, a film that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave.
The children, have they had a governess before?
Unfortunately, she died. And I've only now been able to seek a replacement.
I'll do everything I can to keep the children happy. I'm Miss Giddens.
Yes, I know. You're my new governess. We will have fun together, won't we?
Yes, we will, dear.
Promise now. You won't go away.
I expect to be here for a very long time. Mrs. Gross, is there anyone living here that I don't know about?
Living here? Peter Quint, the master's valet.
But you said...
Yes, miss, you see, he's dead.
The answer must lie in the past.
You must remember it's a secret.
All I want to do is save the children.
Did we miss any forgotten horror gems from the 1960s? Let us know in the comments. And if you're craving more scary recommendations, check out our horror movie playlists. You might just find your next nightmare. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay spooky.